Hello, hello. Ocean rock in my hand. The sky is yellow, orange, and the ocean air is coming in now, so this is good. Still looks like Mars, the sky. Yesterday afternoon, that was quite something. The way the colors transformed themselves over the course of the day. And suddenly there was light blue at the horizon on one side. And when the light blue stripe appeared at the horizon, that's where the wind was blowing the smoke and the ashes over to this side, and that's when the birds woke up, and I guess they had taken a nap or they were afraid. And today I saw several California condors fly over our property quietly. Huge birds. And then my husband told me that people had been monitoring the condor nests and the fires were creeping in. And I cried, and both Paul and I were deeply concerned about those baby chicks, the condor chicks in the nests. And some people, they have live cameras installed to monitor them all the time to see what's going on. And then the fires were creeping into the forest and coming closer to those condor nests. And I prayed to the infinite cosmos that people were able to rescue those baby chicks before the fires came close. That is, the idea is so absolutely. I have the camera this way. This is such a scary. This is such a horrible, horrible fear. Mother instinct fear. Yeah, it's overwhelming. And thinking about all the animals that are affected by all of those wildfires. Thinking about the animals all day long, and throughout the night, I go to bed at night, I pray to the infinite cosmos, the blue God, to protect all living beings. And I wake up 2 or 3 times throughout the night to go to the bathroom, and immediately I think about the animals again. And I have my window, a gap open, about this far open, and I always talk to the animals outside quietly, and I say, I love you all infinitely much. You are my children, all of you. And the blue God protects you. That's what I say every night. And I sit here, on my couch, and I see what's going on in the world, and wherever I look on the internet, there's so much suffering going on in animals in particular, and in people too. And I've been watching Dr. Rupert Sheldrake. He and Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton, those are my absolute favorite scientists right now that are contemporary. So my contemporary favorite scientists. There are some that are not contemporary. There are some that are not in the physical anymore. Dr. David Bohm is one of them. And Albert Einstein, of course. And also Stephen Hawking, of course. It's good. It's good to feel the ocean air coming in now. Really good. I was so worried, and I wish deeply that the air becomes saturated with water again. We have been using the sprinklers. There's so much I have to say to the human species, but because I'm different, because my brain does not vibrate on the same frequency, because my brain doesn't process things the way the average person processes things. My brain is processing things according to the Asperger's label. And Asperger's is not a disability. It is really a matter of how we look at it, from which angle we look at it. If we look at it from the perspective of the average person, then yes, it definitely could. It could be seen as a disability. It could be seen as that, because it is very difficult for people that are thinking like I do to walk through life surrounded by people that do not think like I do. Okay. Just the fact that I see the crudeness and the cruelty in the world is overwhelming for me, and for anyone who is this highly sensitive. When I was a child, I already knew I was different, and I felt ashamed about it, because when we're children, we don't question others. When we're kids, we come into this world, this existing world, and we think that if we don't fit in, then there must be something wrong with us. There must be something wrong with me if I don't fit in. If I'm having a hard time with society, then that must be mental illness on my part. That must be a disability. That must be some kind of syndrome that is being given to me by the so-called self-proclaimed experts that are being validated by society, who also think like them. So if we live in a world where everyone does something in a specific way, and they all do it the same way, and you don't do it, then naturally as a child you think, oh, there must be something wrong with me that I don't fit in. But obviously, if we look at it from another point of view, if we look at it from the perspective of the person who thinks differently, and then without any bias or ego, just looking at it from the other point of view, then we suddenly see, oh, wait a minute, there isn't anything wrong with me at all. Matter of fact, my brain is working exceptionally well. I have a very high IQ, 3-digit, so many of us do, okay? So obviously it's not some kind of disability. It's certainly not a cognitive impairment. So then arises the question, if I'm not the one with the problem, maybe they're the ones with the problem, right? The majority with their judges and lawyers and physicians that are validating the average person, the majority, right? So if we live in a society where everyone is a criminal, then the judge will rule in favor of the criminal. I'm using this as an extreme example, but if we really look at society, we see that this is actually happening. This is actually happening. There are judges and activists who want to free the psychopath, just like I want to free the birds out of the cage. I say free all birds, free all animals. They're not psychopaths. Okay? They have never hurt anyone. But they're being incarcerated for exploitation purposes. Human commerce. Okay? So let's really look at it very, very closely. And that's where meditation comes in. We sit down and we allow intelligence to happen. We allow attunement to happen. Okay? Attunement with all other living beings. Allow that to happen. And then very, very gradually, your brain calms down. And very gradually you see, oh, I see the other living being now. I see how he feels. Suddenly, the people who have forced a pig into a slaughter chamber, the pig was desperately stemming his feet against that threshold of that door, screaming. Anyone would do this. And the slaughter people would do the same thing if they were in his situation. But they have objectified that male pig whom they were trying to force through that threshold. They have depersonalized that individual. It's the same as the Holocaust, where people were depersonalized and demonized. Most people seem to depersonalize animals so that they can view them as bacon and not give them a name. Some farmers call their pigs bacon. Instead of David. It's really a matter of from which perspective are we looking at the situation? Are we looking at the situation from the corporate exploitation perspective, the speciesist, the unattuned perspective? Or do we look at it from a oneness perspective, where we are attuned to the other living beings around us and see the world through their eyes without having to be reborn into yet another pig who is being forced through that threshold into the slaughter chamber? So those are my questions, and you can sit with it in meditation. You can think about this in peace for 1 hour. Okay? You guys take care. Bye-bye.